Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to be having a look at some of the top things that you should be doing to help improve your gameplay if you want to go from being a player that perhaps struggles to beat the AI on harder levels, or perhaps you've got a friend that's always beating you in multiplayer and you want to know how they're doing it, or you perhaps want to start doing some PvP and you just want to improve your game, or you might just want to know a few fun facts about Stellaris. So keep watching and I'll go through some of the important things that I've learnt over the years. One of the first things that I have learnt is in the early part of the game, you need to be focusing on your research buildings. Now this is a capital world for me. It's a bit of a mix of a research and a trade world, but as you can see, it's only year 24. I've got multiple research buildings built, and I've mixed this in with commercial districts in this particular game. But you can build mostly research. You should be aiming to have 6 to 7 research buildings on your capital, because your capital will have the highest stability, the highest habitability, and likely the highest population in that early part of the game for you, which will help increase your total research points. So this is by no means as high as you can get. You can get significantly higher research than this by this stage of the game. This is just an example that I'm showing. I'm doing a bit of a mix. Now, obviously, research takes consumer goods, so you may also need to build an early industrial district or two to help supply that research with consumer goods. Otherwise, you're going to run into troubles with your economy. So this is one of the first early things that you need to do. Research, which will help you burn through those early technologies. As you can see here, takes significantly less time. Building that first research building basically doubles your research output, which means it will halve the time it takes you to research your first technologies, which is significant. And then when you do your second, third, fourth research building, it's a multiplicative effect, which helps you steamroll those early technologies. One of the important things that you want to be doing early is min-maxing the most out of your internal market. You can buy up to 42 alloys early without affecting the mineral price. It should stay in a very close range for this price. So you can buy up to 42, you can buy up to 10 alloys, and it should stay within this price, around that 5 energy mark. It's similar for food, 42, consumer goods I believe is 10 as well. So try to min-max your internal economy so that you don't build up large stockpiles of energy like I've got here. I've built this up because I'm going to be building up a fleet soon and I need the extra energy to sustain that fleet in the future. But this is an opportunity cost. So you want to be making the most of this energy to increase the productivity of empire, like buying more minerals, building more buildings, buying more food, getting those colony ships. Perhaps you need more alloys so that you can get more star bases up and running so that you can expand your fleet capacity, or you might want to expand your hydroponic bays and shipyards. So consider having large resource stockpiles early in the game as opportunity cost. So really min-max that to the best of your ability to increase the productivity of your empire. Early on in the game, if you want to identify one of your first few habitable worlds that you find as a alloy world or a forge world, as you can see I've got here. Now I've picked one of my planets which has got the most industrial districts early, and I've pretty much been constantly building industrial districts on this world for as long as I've had it, since it's colonized. I've also built a alloy foundry, which you can, early in the game, you can disable this so that you are not using or wasting energy sustaining it if you're focused on building consumer goods, because this industrial world early on will be a factory world which will help sustain your research production. And this is why you want to build up a stockpile of consumer goods in the first part of the game until you get to about sometime between years 17 and 20, depending on your situation with AIs or human players around you. Then you want to switch into alloy production. So you want to keep building these industrial districts, And to keep your happiness on this planet or your stability up a bit higher, you're going to be needing luxury residences. Really, I should probably have a second luxury residence here to boost that up higher. For every 3 industrial districts, you should be building a luxury residence in the early part of the game to keep your alloy world happy, because this creates amenities and it also does not take any population. So that means you can focus all of your resources on your alloy production. Now, to maximize your alloy production and consumer goods, make sure that you've set your economic policy to civilian economy in the first part of the game, so that you can increase your consumer goods output, which will also help increase your research to sustain that research production. Once you're ready to produce lots of alloys, make sure you switch into alloy production or militarized economy, which will help increase the alloy output so you can get that fleet built to go and fight your wars. And make sure that you switch the right production on your worlds depending what you need with a forge world, factory world. What you also want to be doing is transferring pops to this planet as it grows and you've got more jobs available to use, so that you can maximize the output of this planet. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit. Now, in the early part of the game, you want to continually expand your research. Don't get stuck not expanding your research. So I'm going to show you how to do that on your 3rd planet, so you can continually research those technologies that you need, which I've got an example of here. You want to be expanding your research production. This will help alleviate some of the pressure on your capital, because your capital world, you may want to be building some energy or minerals to help balance your overall economy, or you may need some more industrial districts to help balance the consumer goods early. In this case, I've built more commercial districts because I'm going a bit more trade focused, and I'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But your 3rd planet should be focused on research, or perhaps even helping to, if it's really good in energy or alloys, you might want to build a little bit of this to help balance it. But as a rule of thumb, early in the game, you shouldn't be spending minerals on your 3rd planet unless you've developed or you don't have anything to currently build on your 1st or 2nd planet, and they're using all the available pops that you have and have jobs available. As you can see, I've got plenty of jobs available on these 2 worlds, so I can spend resources to develop this planet. The other point to make is about spending minerals is you don't want to be spending minerals on small amounts of space-based resources such as 2 minerals or 2 energy or 1 energy, 1 mineral. If you get systems which have 4 resource in 1 location, so you only have to spend 100 minerals, then it's worthwhile. But otherwise, you want to be saving your minerals to develop particularly these first 2 planets, your capital and your alloy world or your factory world, and then maybe a tech/energy world if you need it, as a 3rd option, just to spend minerals that you have in excess at that point in time. This will really help develop your economy. Early on, you really only need to develop these 3 planets. An area where some players need to improve is on research selection. Some technologies that you'll pick will unlock multiple other technologies, and then that limits your available technology selections for some priority techs that you may want to find, such as alloy megaforges, or it might be the technologies to unlock archaeology. So you need to be careful what techs you pick early, so that you can prioritize your techs and not get useless technologies continually appearing that you don't want until much later in the game. So I'll show you how to do that. Early game technologies which are good, obviously the physics research plus 20% bonus in either physics, engineering, society are good early technologies. Research speed, and you can see here the technologies that I've done. So, and it may it depends on the technology roles as well that you come up with, but one thing I'm trying to aim for is I'm trying to get chemical plants or the moat technology early in the game. In this game, I got it a little bit late, but as a rule of thumb, this technology will not become available to research until you have unlocked 6 tier 1 physics technologies. So you have to have done 6 prior to this having a chance to spawn. So I try to avoid doing too many weapon technologies until I've completed this tech, because these techs will unlock even more technology options, which will increase the amount of research alternatives that I have to pick from, which reduces the chance of this spawning. Once you have this technology, chemical plants, then it enables the ability of you unlocking your alloy techs, which is, let's see how far it took me to get in this one. I think it took a little while actually. Here it is, the holographic cast. So having the motes technology allows you to unlock the holographic cast technology. At least it increases the chances to do so. You can see here I'm already doing the second level nano plants, which is actually possible to get this done prior to year 30. I am rather late here because I wasn't really focused on increasing my alloy production in this particular case. So you need to get your motes tech done, and for that you need 6 tier 1 technologies done. This is why it's important to get your research up fast. Then this becomes a chance to unlock your holographic casts. And then after this is done, you very may well draw this one the very next turn. But this is extremely important to getting your alloy production up higher, and it's why your tech selections are very important as to what you may pick. And one of the important society techs to aim for early to also help boost your alloy production is to get colonial centralization. To get this option, you first need to have done planetary unification. So, but I don't like to do this too early until I get my unity production up a little bit higher, because it does give you a nice lump sum of unity, as you can see there. But you need to get this done so that you can unlock the planetary capital. Now, why is that important? Well, to get planetary capital, you need to have 25 pops on your planet. And what you want to be aiming for is to get your forge world up to around 25 pops. And to do this, you would transfer pops from your other planets to your forge world. And you may have a number of planets early which are perhaps just low habitability. They're just pop growing planets, which you can transfer those pops as they grow into your forge world. And you might have, say, a planet like here, and you can just close off some jobs, close off the clerk jobs, transfer that clerk into your forge world, and to boost that up. The reason this is important is because you need to get your planetary capital up, and you need 25 pops for that. You can see there the number of pops greater than or equal to 25, because you can't upgrade your alloy forge until you reach 25 pops to the second level. The first level you can, so this level you can achieve without many difficulties at all. It's the second level that you need this one here. You can see here that you'll need a it doesn't actually say there, does it? Unlocks building. It doesn't say there, but you do need 25 pops on your planet to have a planetary capital. You can't build this building without a planetary capital. I'm surprised it doesn't say that there actually, but it will say that when you go to try to build it. So that's just something to be aware of in your game, which will greatly help you increase your alloy production, and it just helps you plan for the future what planets you want to transfer pops to make sure as you're researching this that you've got enough pops on that planet and the capital's upgraded so you can build this building straight away. And to build this building you also need motes, so you've got to make sure you have your motes coming in so that you can build it, which I don't have here currently at the moment. Now, another early trick that you can do to help your min-maxing and trying to get the most out of your empire early is using all your pops as efficiently as you can. So one of the things you can do is on your newer colonies, say you've colonized a new world and you've got a couple of colonists there. What you can do is, rather than have a couple of colonists in there providing a boost to amenities and a bit of food production in this case, why not make those jobs available to other specialist jobs? So you can't change them to a worker because he's our specialist, but what you can do is you can make a research building or a commercial zone like this. So in my case, I've taken out one of my colonists here and I've either made it a merchant or a researcher. And if I had another specialist job available here, like building another research building or commercial district, I could add some more research or a second merchant job here rather than having a colonist job. And as you'll see The colonist job has negligible impact on your stability. We even run the game a little bit. You can see there, it's only dropped at 3%. So you can easily use these 2 colonist jobs in other specialist fields such as research. So that's 1 to 2 pops, because you always get 1 pop early. Build a research building straight away, or a commercial district if you're going a trade build, and use that pop to really boost your economy. You can see there I'm getting 12 trade value plus amenities anyway. So why would I keep it in here for amenities when I can put it in there and get 12 trade value, which is going to give me more energy, unity and consumer goods if you're a trade build, or if you're just going for a research, it's going to increase your research significantly. When you're doing that across multiple new colonies, particularly in the early part of the game, that can give you a really nice boost. The next thing you should be focusing on, even from early in the game, is make sure that you're regularly checking your edicts to see what edicts you're able to run early. In this case, I'm running Map the Stars, so it gives me some nice survey speed and anomaly discovery chance, give me some nice bonuses. Fortify the border so that I can build my star bases quicker and also have more star bases available. So, and I'm still under my edict cap here. So these are very important to do, and it depends what you want to do. Like I can also easily run this edict here, education campaign, which I should be doing, plus 25% leader gain. That is so good. And if your consumer goods are a problem, then run this recycling campaign. Cost 40, these only cost energy. So as long as you've got a bit of spare energy, you'll be fine, which I've got plenty of energy here at the moment. So make sure you're using your edicts regularly and checking your edicts. It's extremely powerful. You need to be using it. So try not to neglect it. So it just depends on what your goals are. It is easy to miss edicts early on. So just make sure you're doing that, because 25% leader experience gain, when you're trying to level up your government or your council leaders to get those bonuses is fantastic. That is a lot of experience gain that you're going to be getting, and with your scientists as well that you're currently surveying in these that first 50-60 year period. So make sure you're checking your edicts. You also want to be making sure that your policies are correct to your empire. In this case, I'm going with mercantile for my build. One of the early things you want to be doing is, in the first part of the game, is doing isolationist, because that will help increase your unity production 10%. Once you get through that first 10 to 15 years, if you've got supremacist available, if you're doing that as one of your first options, supremacist is very good, but I'd recommend doing that by about year 30, so that you can then get the bonuses from your diplomatic fleet power, diplomatic weight from fleet power. You can get your war exhaustion, naval capacity, and claim influence cost, or increasing or reducing, which will help you for your future conquest wars if that's the type of game that you're playing. If not, you may want to pick one of these other ones, but isolationist is good early. Expansionist is also good depending on your style, but mercantile is also extremely good if you're doing a bit of a trade build. One area players struggle with is unity production in the early part of the game, in the first 30 to 40 years. As you're struggling with alloys, mineral production, consumer goods, trying to get your research up, it's an area that often gets neglected and gets left to the wayside. So I'll show you a way how you can really improve that side of your game without too much effort at all. The mercantile tradition tree early on. You can do one pick here, then one pick into marketplace of ideas or adaptive economic policies there, and that will unlock the government policy for trade policy here, marketplace of ideas, which gives you 0.5 trade value and 0.25 unity. So it will decrease your energy production for a little while, so you will have to rebalance that, but will increase your unity production, and I'll show you how that will greatly increase your unity over time. So you can see here I'm now 40 years into the game. You can see my unity production is now 357. And what I want to show you is, other than the very first building that I've got, which is what I start the game with, I have not produced any unity buildings on any of my worlds, yet my unity has increased to this amount. I am running parliamentary ideas, so I'm getting unity from our parliamentary system, so I'm getting about 150 there, so I'm getting 200 unity from basically my trade value. You can see there, 204 unity from trade. So that's how significant trade is. And you'll also notice the consumer goods production. I'm producing 245 consumer goods, and I don't have any consumer goods buildings either. All I'm producing here is, well, this is switched over now to alloy worlds. That was a consumer goods world, yet I'm still in the positive for consumer goods. And this is where the next idea for improving your early game can be really important. Having a federation, either with your a friendly neighbor, or if you've just got one planet which is more than five jumps away from your capital, which I don't think I really have here at the moment. But if you had a planet which is 5 jumps away from your capital, you can create a separate sector, release that planet as a vassal, then release that and make an independent empire, and then quickly build relations with them and try and form a federation with them. But to do that, you need to have diplomacy, tradition, and you need to unlock the federation so that you can create a federation. Now, why is that important? Because this federation I created is a trade league. Now, a trade league automatically changes your government policy. You can see here, trade league policy. So it's not marketplace of ideas anymore. Now it's trade league. So we've lost a little bit of unity there, but we've gained, it was 0.25 unity, but now we've gained 0.2 consumer goods as well for every single trade value that we are producing. So I'm producing 245 consumer goods. Over 200 is from trade. So you can see that I'm getting over 200 consumer goods and 200 unity from my trade value. And I don't have a single building. I don't have any pops working consumer goods in my empire. The only pops I have on unity are these 2 jobs. Nothing else you can see there am I making consumer goods or unity production. This is where having at least a partial trade build is so powerful. I'm not a megacorp. I'm just a ocean paradise, and you can be anything you like, really. This is just focusing on having the mercantile tradition. I do have some benefits of my species to trade here, thrifty, which you don't really need to do if you don't want to. So you can really have a strong trade build just by having the mercantile tradition and unlocking all those tradition trees and having a bit of diplomacy with a trade federation if you want to, which can really help you early game. And you don't even need an ally with an ally. You can create your own little federation with one planet, with one sector, and just have your own little empire so you can still go around conquering. I don't have any penalties to my empire size from like a standard megacorp, so I can go around and conquer as much space as I want to and all that type of thing. So the megacorps, I think, are a bit overpowered, to be honest. I think they need to rebalance it. But I like a little bit of a trade build in some of my playthroughs, and I've just shown you how you can negate consumer goods and unity production. So all I really need to focus on is alloy production and research, really, and then just balancing everything else out. That's how powerful it can be, having the mercantile tradition tree and having a trade federation early in the game. So one of the things people struggle with is getting Econopolises early enough. And to get an Econopolis up early, you need to get the technologies pretty quickly, which are, so the technologies you need are anti-gravity engineering, that's the second tech. Weather control systems are the first one, so you need that one. And then anti-gravity engineering, which will unlock the Ascension perk, Ecology Project. Now I did this a bit later because I did Hydrocentric, my Cybernetic, and then I did Mastery of Nature. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to build up my planets. And what I did is I built a orbital ring, built 4 habitable districts, which gives me 4 more districts on my planet. Then I did the decision, expand planetary seas. You can do up to 3 times, as long as you've got an ice station. And you build your ice station on your starbase as long as you've got an ice asteroid somewhere in that system. So that gives me up to 7 extra districts. Then I did expand the Mastery of Nature, which gives me another 2 districts. So that's up to 9. Now you can get, I got a random event which gave me another 1 or 2 districts. I think that's how I got up to 11 from memory in here, which took me from 30 to 41. So this is a size 41 planet. So you have to expand all of that first before you do an Econopolis and build up the extra industrial districts or city districts. You can see here I've made this into a nice big trade world, which is really good. I've also increased the Ascension tier to level 10, which gives me plus 52% trade value on this planet. You can see here all the jobs I've got. 270. You can get this up to well over 300 pops. I've also got my alloy production arcology or Econopolis, which gives me over 1500, and it's far from finished. You can increase that significantly more. So you can see how powerful doing Econopolises are to boost your economy. And you have to plan ahead because you really need to build up all those industrial districts or city districts and do all the planning. So it takes a significant amount of time if you want to do it. Probably a good idea might be to pick a world that you can build up industrial districts pretty quickly. You want to be an alloy world, but maybe not your biggest, best alloy world. Get that going as an early Econopolis while you build up your bigger worlds and expanding their planetary size. You can see this is a size 25 world, but I've actually got 32 districts there and then a district there, so that's 33. So I managed to expand that quite a bit. So, but that takes a significant amount of time, which delays you getting an operational Econopolis. So this is what you need to do in the mid to late game period. Between that, start at 60 years, by 80 to 100 years, you want to have your Econopolises up and running. Ringworlds are one of the really good mega structures to build. Don't overlook them, don't neglect them. They're fantastic for trade and research. So if you want to take your endgame economy to the next level, get yourself a ring world or 2, and I'll show you how. Now, here's a ring world that I've built. I'm focusing on increasing the trade on these planets. And one of the things that makes a ring world really great is when you build a district, you get 4 merchant jobs, 6 clerk jobs, 10 housing. So you can get approximate job production is 131 trade and 28 amenities. So you can see here I've only got 30 pops on this planet and the trade is already nearly 1500 just on here, and I can keep going, and I've still got more merchant jobs to put in here. I've got heaps of clerk jobs to do. I've got heaps of things to do on this planet yet to expand its trade capability, and it's going to be extremely powerful when you get it up and running. Now you can see this is a nice big trade ring world, but the other real big benefit to ring worlds is being able to increase your research production as well. And I believe I've got some more ring worlds over here somewhere. Let's have a look here. That one's not colonized yet. Colonizing that one. So here, these are, I conquered these from a fallen empire. So this ring world for research, you can see here, you can get up to 10 researching jobs, giving you nearly 100 in all categories of research, and that's your base research, so you get all your modifiers on top of that. So you can increase the districts, max out all the research here, and then you can also build research buildings here, research institutes, and everything you've got to increase your research production on these ring worlds. Now, I haven't built these ring worlds yet, but you can delete these buildings if you don't want them, or what buildings you want, and modify it to however you like. So you can see here there's a lot of potential. Like, look at this research here, and this ring world is far from finished, and that's only 35 pops. And look how much research it's doing with 35 pops. That's just crazy. And look how much scientists I can put in here already. So that's 70. 7, so that's going to be 8. 8 districts. I can probably get rid of that and get another one. So that'll be at least 80. That'll be at least 80 research jobs. So that'll be nearly 3 times the research. It's going to be close to 1,000, and that's without any buildings on here. So it's going to be a massive amount of research when you finish it. Now, I was fortunate to conquer this fallen empire because I think I got 1, 2 ring worlds there, and I think there's a third one here. Yeah, there we go. So I've actually got 4 ring worlds in this game, which is just crazy. So what I should be doing in this game is building up these ring worlds, the research, and moving so many pops from my other planets onto these ring worlds. There's 4 ring worlds, having them, let's say have a couple trade and a couple of research ring worlds. It's just going to really massively increase my research, it's already good, but it could be a lot better, and increase my trade. And you can see here in this game, my energy's gone through the roof because my fleet got obliterated. I did have over 8,500 Navy cap, but I just killed a contingency fleet here, which I'm bombarding the contingency world. And this was, I fought 10 million fleet, then I fought a 13 million fleet in here with 2-3 million stations. And yeah, I lost 6,000 Navy cap in the last session. So yeah, so I'm rebuilding. I've got about 500,000 fleets building, I think. So yeah, look at all my shipyards. 500,000 alloys worth of ships building. You can see here, look at this. Scroll, 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 scroll. Doesn't end. Look at this. My mega shipyard's going to be busy. 173 ships. Okay, so you can see there, ring worlds, fantastic. Really build them, do not neglect them. Okay, so we've gone over 10 pretty important areas of the game. Actually, probably more than that because some of them were doubled up. By no means a complete list of all the tips and tricks that I know of, but this length of the video, it's certainly enough, and I'll be doing some more in the future. If you'd like to add some comments on this, or if you have any tips and tricks you'd like to share with the community, and maybe I can include in another video, and I'm happy to include your name and who thought of the idea. So if you like this video, hit that like button for me. I'll be making plenty more videos like this in the future, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.